Nigeria, for ratifying this particular treaty, is mandated to submit a report to this committee that they have snubbed, violated their own ultimatum with impunity. So which face would Nigeria use to challenge the Biafra government when we are here to say enough is enough with your impunity, enough is enough with your supporting of terrorism? We are not even talking about them funding terrorism, giving them guns and arms to fight and kill indigenous people to take over their land in the name of Islamic State. We are not even talking about that yet. We are talking about only the arbitrary detention of innocent citizens, so-called innocent citizens, arbitrary detention of those who were exercising their right protected under this United Nations Treaty. That is what we are still addressing. We are not addressing their terrorism and how they are killing people, extrajudicial killings and all that. No, we are only talking about this particular detention of innocent people. How Nigeria violates this law with impunity that lead to the anarchy that you see today. Because the solution to prevent anarchy, to prevent instability, has been laid down in all these principles and treaties that we are going to assent to. And once you begin to violate it, you are opening and creating a loophole for anarchy to come in, because people are going to resist you. When you violate people's rights, using gun and bullet, think you can use them to suppress them for a long time? No, at a point they will fight back. And that is why I am leading the fighting back against Nigeria today. And I will stand anywhere, anytime in the world to defend how I am leading the pushback to fight against the terrorist state of Nigeria with our guns and bullets. What is the concept of this treaty? A state party to a treaty is a state that has expressed consent by an act of ratification, accession, or succession, and where the treaty has entered into force, or a state about to become a party after formal reception by the United Nations Secretary of the state decision to be a party. A signatory to a treaty is a state that provided a preliminary endorsement of the instrument and its intent to examine the treaty domestically and consider ratifying it. No action means that a state did not express its consent. Nigeria expressed its consent in ratifying these treaties that they are now violating, and Biafra is the only alternative to bring to an end to the impunity. No, so my brother Biafra people, I want to quickly inform the entire Biafra people some of the international human rights treaty under the United Nations that Biafra government will ratify through the convention in Finland on the 2nd of December. I want to inform you, we are not only declaring the restoration of Biafra on the 2nd of December, but we are also ratifying the United Nations international human rights treaties and become party to these treaties to abide by these rules and regulations in order to restore peace and stability. Nigeria have not done that for decades. We are going to provide that solution. So, on this note, the Biafra people will gather in the convention alongside with many observers that will be coming from all over the world to observe the convention of the Biafra government, both in the homeland and in diaspora in exile. On that day, Biafra will ratify the International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, which was adopted in 1965. On the 2nd of December 2024, as we declare the restoration of the sovereign state of Biafra, Biafra will ratify the United Nations International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, which was found in 1966. My fellow Biafrans and the good people of the world that are listening and are very, very sympathetic to the cause of Biafra people, I want you to understand that Biafra will be the beginning of civilization in Africa. We have suffered enough. Our people have been killed, and those who made it alive today should go and thank their God that they are alive to witness this particular history that we are making in this generation. On the 2nd of December 2024, that historic day, Biafra will ratify the United Nations International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights. My fellow Biafrans, I want you to understand what we are doing. For those who think that this is a joke, you will understand after 2nd of December. My fellow Biafrans, on 2nd of December, the Biafra government will ratify and assent to the United Nations Convention Against Torture and other cruel, inhumane, or degrading treatment or punishment, which came into force in 1984. On the 2nd of December 2024, Biafra government will assent and ratify the United Nations Convention on the Right of Child, which came into force in 1989. We are laying this foundation for those who do not understand how Biafra will restore stability in the entire region, to understand that only by the rule of law that sanity will return to the region of the West Africa, largest resources. On the 2nd of December 2024, during the convention that will shape the history of Africa, Biafra government will assent and ratify the United Nations International Convention on the Protection of Rights of all migrant workers and members of their families, which came into force in 1990. My fellow Biafrans, on the 2nd of December, we are not just only declaring the restoration of independence state of Biafra to raise a legal document, but we are also assenting as a government, ratifying the United Nations International Convention for Protection of All Persons from Enforced Disappearance. Today, Nigeria is known for enforcing the disappearance of those who criticize it, who criticize the government, those who criticize the leaders, those who criticize officials. They enforce their disappearance. Just a few days ago, we listened to one of the lawmakers bragging to a taxi driver how he can make him disappear and nobody will talk about him anymore. It happens. Thousands of people have disappeared as a result of them criticizing the government officials. While Nigeria was party to this treaty, they encourage and use their law enforcement agencies to violate it. Biafra is bringing alternative. How can you come against the Biafra government? We are people that embrace the future and innovation. So we are going to abide by this international covenant, international law, and international treaty, making sure that it is a pathway to restore peace and stability. On the 2nd of December 2024, the Biafra government will not only declare the restoration of independence of Biafra to restore peace and stability in the Sahel region, but we are also going to assent and ratify the Convention on the Right of Persons with Disability. My fellow Biafrans, on the 2nd of December, when you hear them say December 2nd will come, a lot is going to happen that day. It's going to be one of the most important days in the history of humankind. The Biafra government, during this convention on the 2nd of December, will ratify and assent to the United Nations optional protocol to the Covenant of Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights. My fellow Biafrans, on that same day, 2nd of December, the Biafra government will also ratify and assent up to the optional protocol to the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. My fellow Biafra people and the lovers of freedom across the world, we are solidifying the legal document that will form the pathway to the recognition of the Biafra as a government, as a state, and then also to bring in lasting peace to the already deteriorating security situation in the Sahel and in the region of the eastern part of Nigeria called Biafra. My fellow Biafrans, on the 2nd of December, the Biafra government will be ratifying and assenting to the United Nations second optional protocol to the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. And our aim is the abolition of the death penalty. This particular convention aiming at the abolition of death penalty, Biafra government will assent and ratify this treaty. In Finland, where I live, which we have taken models from the constitution and many structures of the government, we do not have death penalty. And here, everybody is enjoying, and the government is working for the people. Crime rate is very low. My fellow Biafran, on the 2nd of December, the Biafra government, during the convention, will ratify and assent to the United Nations optional protocol to the Convention on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women, which came into force in 1999. The Biafra government will ratify and assent to this convention and treaty. My fellow Biafran, the Biafra government, under my leadership as a prime minister, during the convention in Finland on the 2nd of December 2024, will also ratify and assent to the United Nations optional protocol to the Convention on the Right of the Child on the Involvement of Children in Armed Conflict. We will ratify this treaty and abide by it, not like the Nigeria terrorist state are doing in the northern Nigeria. On this 2nd of December 2024, as we declare raising a document for the restoration of independence state of Biafra, the Biafra government will ratify and consent to the United Nations optional protocol to the Convention on the Right of Child, on the sales of children, child prostitution, and child pornography. Like under Nigeria, these are not crimes. Why Nigeria assent and sign into these particular treaties, they do not even know the value. They do not know the value in the society. They do not know how it helped to shape society to become a better society like you have in Europe. Like one of the criminals in IPOB, Nigeria, was surprised why Simon Ekpa is making all these utterances in the name of fighting Biafra and nobody is disturbing him. But his uncle shared a nude of a child in Germany, and he has been in the court for the past 5 years. As a Nigeria criminal, this man does not understand that sharing any child pornography is a serious crime. And here is where that particular law was derived from. Under this particular treaty, under the United Nations, the optional protocol to the Convention on the Right of the Child on the Sales of Children and Child Prostitution and Child Pornography. He didn't know it's a crime because he is a product of Nigeria. So Nigeria does not respect international law, and that is the reason, that is one of the reasons there are anarchy, insecurity, and all manner of atrocities in Nigeria, and they do not see most of these things as crime. So they come to Europe, they commit these crimes, and they are wondering why police is after them. We will ratify these laws, teach the people what is right and wrong, and make our society a sane and more saner place to live. My fellow Biafrans, on the 2nd of December, alongside other dignitaries that will embrace our convention all over the world, they will witness and observe the Biafra government assent and ratifying the United Nations optional protocol to the Convention on the Right of Child on a communication procedure. We will also, on that 2nd of December, ratify the United Nations optional protocol on the Convention Against Torture and Other Cruel, Inhuman, and Degrading Treatment or Punishment. The Biafra government will not only do consent to all these protocols, convention, and optional protocols of the United Nations, but also we are going to ratify the United Nations optional protocol to the Convention on the Right of Persons with Disability. I want you to understand that there are many international instruments that the Biafra government will consent to, and make sure we uphold this treaty, not just consenting and ratifying it like Nigeria did and other Islamic terrorist states, but we are going to make sure that we follow these particular laws because it is the only pathway to peace. Once you uphold this law, the rule of law, and abide by the treaties, it is actually shaping to restore peace, stability, tranquility, and all manner of harmony that you can enjoy as a nation. That's the difference between the Europe and Africa. And like I said, because we have come here, there is no other tribe, there is no other nation in the world that is widely traveled like the Biafra people. And not only that we are traveled, we are also in the government in different countries of our residence. We participate in the nation building, and we have learned a lot, and we want to now bring it to build our nation, to make it the beginning of civilization in Africa. I want to stop here because of time. So I will be taking questions, especially from people who wish to ask questions. And even though I have a limited time, but now you have at least a glimpse of the kind of things we are doing or we are going to do during the convention. It is not just about declaring Biafra restoration and all that. The aim of and objective of this convention is to raise this legal document that we are going to use to pursue the recognition of Biafra as a state. And this is one of the pillars of doing that, is by ratifying the United Nations international human rights treaties and getting ready to abide by these rules and regulations in order to restore peace and stability in our region, in our country, and in our state. Thank you very much, the media team. Over to you, Raphael. I have given you a co-host, so Success, you can continue from here. Thank you.